Purpose to Platform helped me excel in my career. I got promoted. I've exceeded my I've exceeded my performance goals, and I'm having conversations about what the next level looks. And it hasn't even been a full year since Purpose to Platform.
You're listening to the Redefining Wealth podcast with Patrice Washington. Today, we continue in our client success stories from my Purpose to Platform program. The doors are now open. We have been doing the Creative for Purpose Challenge, and every time I do this, I am blown away by the breakthrough and by the results and by, I think, the next level of belief that people have for themselves and what's possible. Because when you hear a mantra like chase purpose, not money, if you've been through some stuff, like most of us as adults, you can be resistant to that. It can seem like it's a fairy tale, like it's not a real thing. And one of the things that I have really tried to stress over the years before my career or my platform changed to Redefining Wealth is that purpose was not just about entrepreneurship. Everyone who is clear about their purpose does not need to, quote unquote, work for themselves. I do believe, though, that when you really lock in on your gifts, your talents, and how to communicate who you are more authentically and more effectively, it does impact your career as well. And so I am so excited to share with you Sandy Pharaon, because Sandy is here today to talk about what P2P has done for her. But I love when she talks about how it has accelerated her career path, a career path that for a season she actually felt like it was stagnant. If this is you, if you're feeling stuck in your corporate career right now and you're trying to figure out what that boost is, lean into Sandy's story. This is going to be good for you. Without further ado, here is Sandy Pharaon. Welcome to the Redefining Wealth podcast, Sandy.
Thank you, Patrice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So glad to be here.
Okay. Now this one's a little different for me for many reasons. But I have to start by saying that to introduce you to the Redefining Wealth community feels so special right now because as we discovered in P2P, as you know, my client avatar, my ideal client's name has always been Sandy. And whenever I have thought about what would be great for the podcast or what program should I launch or what event should I participate in, one of the questions that I've asked myself for the last 4.5 years is, would Sandy appreciate this? Is this good for Sandy where she is in her life? And then we had together when you were live coaching with me during Purpose to Platform, that aha moment. I was like, you're Sandy. This is Sandy. All of the time that I've been saying, would Sandy appreciate this? And then we had that just beautiful moment. It just like I will carry that for the rest of my life to meet the real Sandy. I call you the real Sandy, the embodiment of Sandy. But who you represent for me are women of different backgrounds, different colors, different ages, different all the things all over the world, though, who have this heart to chase purpose, not money, and who resonate with the message and who need to be served in the way that I was born to serve. And so I'm really happy you're here.
I am too. That was such a special moment. I was thinking about it too, like, wow. And it was divine.
It was divine. So divine. Okay, so let's go back because I was blown away too. I remember from that call when you shared about how you were introduced to me.
Yes.
And so share a little of that story. So how did you come into this whole Patrice Washington world?
So I came into Redefining Wealth, Patrice Washington, all of your offerings through your podcast, Redefining Wealth. I became a listener because in undergrad and grad school, I was a teacher's assistant for Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, who I found out is one of your mentors.
Yes.
He was my first year seminar teacher at Clark Atlanta University. And you had him as a podcast guest, and I had been listening since. That's how I came upon the podcast. And since listening, I was in the Facebook community and had always been on the mailing list, but something, I don't know what happened the year P2P was being highlighted, but it was my year, because either I got the email or Facebook notification about the challenge and decided, you know what, I'm going to participate in this challenge. And part of me feels that I had listened to some of it, but this challenge was surreal because it had to be day 3 or 4 of the 5-day, 11-day challenge.
Girl, it's a 5-day challenge.
That 5-day challenge that just grew. It just kept growing and growing, kept giving.
Yeah, I kept going. Okay, but what if we did this? Okay, let's add that. I know the whole team was like, "Girl, stop! It's a 5-day challenge." But anyway, go ahead.
It was amazing because it had to be day 3 or 4 that you said something. Oh, my avatar, Sandy. And I'm like, that's me. But like, I just said, you know what? It was the first time that I actually invested in myself. Always been, in some type of corporate setting, earning certifications and just always working and going to conferences and things, but the company always sponsored. Mm-hmm. This was the first time that I said, you know what? I'm going to invest in myself. And I had to dip into my money to do it. Like, so
you had to sponsor yourself.
I did.
Wait a minute, Sandy. That's a word, though, because we have quite a few. I mean, our community is not just entrepreneurs. There are people who have a corporate career but are possibly looking to build something on the side or build something to really just get clarity around what they feel called to do so they have a plan for what's next. And I have heard this over and over again, this idea of, the corporate certifications or things that are like on an approved list that your employer will pay for. But what happens when your spirit is calling you to do something maybe out of the norm or the realm of what would normally be considered continuing education, if you will, or anything like that. And you have to sponsor yourself. Yes. That's a big one.
It was, especially since I've never fancied myself someone to go an entrepreneurial route, like ever like undergrad, everything. I knew I was going to be an employee. Like in college, people were starting businesses. I said, no, ma'am, I am risk averse. I don't take risks like that. I need to know my paycheck is coming and things like. It was surreal to have the experience of coming through Purpose to Platform and actually seeing the potential of and now I have an LLC. Abundant Wellness is an LLC that I've established. I did it in P2P. Yes. So talk about transformation, right? Coming in thinking, oh yeah, no, I'm all things corporate America only, and to leave with a vision for my future that's completely different.
Okay, well, we skipped a step then, because how do you go from, no, I'm an employee, I'm risk averse, not going to do that, to let me go on ahead and invest in myself and go through Purpose to Platform? Like, what was the switch for you?
The switch really was that at the top of the year, I had started this journey with wellness, and it was a personal thing. It happened because at the height of the pandemic, my company was acquired and I was ready to move to the next leadership level, but was told, no, you have to wait. And that had to be the 3rd or 4th time in my career I had heard a no. And I'm sitting on the phone with a mentor and just crying and upset and angry. And I'm going in like just about the frustration and this shouldn't have happened to me. And, in that season, you could have really called me a chronic overachiever because just never satisfied, always sacrificing friends, family, relationships, just distracted and burnt out and overworked. And so I'm on the phone and I'm just crying and telling my mentor all of these things about my timelines and how the company did me wrong and this shouldn't have happened. And he's like, Sandy, look at your phone. And I looked down. I had spent 18 minutes just pouring all of this out to him. And he turned my attention to Matthew 6:33, which is now a scripture I hold true to my heart, is just seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And it still gives me chills today because I was crying on the phone with him and he prayed with me when we closed the call. But what he had no idea was in that moment and season of my life, I had gone back to binge eating and eating, like overeating. I had gained 30 pounds in a short span of time because I was ordering food all the time. I was just eating junk food. I already have a sweet tooth and I know that about myself. But in that time, I was just looking for comfort. And his conversation and also just having that moment, I said, you know what? I surrender. I surrender. I am not going to fight this fight anymore. And I cannot let corporate America or any employer have that much power over me and my life. And at that time, after that surrender, I also came to a truth that I hope everybody hears me out. Corporate America is ghetto. It's ghetto. Patrice, it's ghetto. It's so ghetto because they're going to do what they're going to do. They're going to meet their strategic goals. They're going to put their plans in place, okay, by any means necessary. Transformation and things are going to happen with your employer. So now I help women that are career driven, just like me, achieve this steady pace. I pulled together this method through P2P, just really sitting and resonating and thinking about it. It really is a 4-step process that allows you to really prepare. The P is preparation and prayer. The A is acceptance and awareness. The C is a commitment to community. And the E is expectation of the desired result. And several times across my journey, just being a mentor, I mean, over 15 years working in corporate America and being a leader in different capacities, taking on responsibilities, we are still having the conversation around women and burnout. The pandemic alone wiped a lot of the success that we had made as women as it relates to climbing this corporate ladder. And you need endurance to climb. Honey, you need endurance to climb. If your cup isn't full, you just can't. And so now, between Abundant Wellness on Facebook, a community I built with women that they can chime in and also we do monthly challenges. We encourage each other. We have every Monday, there's a post to go ahead, look, what is the intention for this week? What we doing? Yeah. Are we working out? Are we praying? Are we journaling? What we doing? But really just trying to keep building spaces for women that are career driven to not feel that they have to sacrifice at that level, to be burnt out and overworked. Like, how do you give something you don't have?
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to be clear. You came to Purpose to Platform and you thought you were not going to become an entrepreneur?
I wasn't sold on entrepreneurship. I wasn't sold. I should say that because even throughout, what I loved about Purpose to Platform is the transparency. I would just jump in the Facebook group and tell the sisters that I'm not here. I don't know who I think I am. Y'all, I don't know who I think I am. What am I doing here? What is happening? I think I'm becoming an entrepreneur. And it was the funniest thing. But that community of women that, we're in different stages and places, but we all just surrounded each other with one common goal and purpose to lift each other up as we go was amazing. It was so amazing. Good. And Purpose to Platform, it had to be week 2 or 3 that I had been crying on Facebook Live. I'm not even a person who goes live. I was like, Sandy, who are you? We don't even know you anymore. I was in the house. I was like, I don't even know you. I don't even know you. Who is this stranger?
I
But
know. But don't I say from the very beginning, by the end of this experience, you will be barely recognizable. You will
yes.
start to look at yourself like, who am I? Like, what is this newfound sense of freedom and boldness and vulnerability and
Right.
clarity and all those things? Yeah. But you
Yes.
can do that in community. And that's why personally, I don't really do one on one coaching much anymore because I think that those things are pulled out of you in community because even when you are not sure, like you going live and crying and carrying on a few times, right? Like you doing that though also gave someone else the safe space to do that or to process what they were feeling or to know they weren't alone. And then you saw other people who were sharing their ahas and here's the lie I'm leaving behind and here's the limiting belief I'm leaving behind. And so when you see that, I believe it just makes you own that. Like, okay, this is a part of the process. Because one thing that a lot of people who come from corporate America, you know, end up recognizing is that you can create the same cycle of burnout even in business that you experience there. And if you don't know it's a thing, right, because you're surrounded by other people and you have community and coaches and mentors and all this stuff, it'll make you question whether you really heard the call for you to walk that part of your purpose out. And
That's
so
so
having
true.
community makes you remember and recognize like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
everybody in here crying. Okay, good.
So true.
Wait,
And
from
that
the
was the
top down,
beauty.
because I'll get in a good cry myself on a Friday call. So like but that it's
Friday.
normal. It's a
It
part of the
is.
process and there's nothing wrong with you. This is a part of the journey, but we can do it.
And that was the healing part of it, was realizing that it didn't matter what space I was in, whether I considered myself, which sometimes, my employer, they'll talk about being an intrapreneur because you're in the company and you're contributing value like an entrepreneur and developing your own career objectives and you have your own
Mhm.
pathway. But really, entrepreneur, same thing. Like the conversations we were having as women in P2P was surreal because I just, in my mind, I thought, "Oh, only the women in this space have those conversations." And here were all these barriers and lies that were just being dismantled as we went through week to week to week. And even in crying, like all the women would reach out to you. It was like, I said, okay, this is, that was the other thing, just the level of support. Like people would come into my DMs, even now, still being supported by the coaches who are now like just sister friends, sister girlfriends, right? You just reach out to them anytime. And I think too, just taking a step back, one of the biggest things was that I had always said, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. But there was a way to find time for these things. Like,
Oh, this is so good, Sandy. Let's talk about it because I know someone right now who like you has a corporate
mhm,
job and they're feeling called to do something. They may not be able to quite put their finger on it, but they're like, is this purpose to platform thing? Like could this help? Could this be a part of my journey? One of the things that I get asked in DMs all the time and if I do live Q&As or anything is, but how much time is it? It sounds
right.
like y'all be doing the most. We do. It's intense. It's
It
not a little
is.
punk 12 weeks. This is for real, for real.
It's robust.
It's robust. That's such a nice way to say it. It is robust. Okay. So, how can you participate in an experience that is robust while having a career and,
Mhm.
extracurricular activities and all those things and not burn out? Because that's what you talk about is burnout and
Right.
wellness. So, how could someone considering coming into P2P, manage all of that?
I would sum it up in being intentional and just say you have to be intentional around how you manage time. All of us only get 24 hours. Like nobody, okay? Because sometimes people think Beyonce got more time. No, she only get 24 hours. And this, you see how
Mhm.
she uses her 24 hours. Um, but all of us get the same 24 hours. What I had to do, which I so appreciate, even in the challenge, a lot of the ladies were very transparent about, look, I'm not on all the calls live. You have to select what calls you're on live and not have this this scarcity mindset around, oh, well, or fear of missing out, because you're not missing out if you don't make a live call. And that's something that I accepted. I said, look, 11 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock, I'm in meetings, I'm moving and shaking. I may not make those meetings, but I block time in the morning because I'm more of a morning person. So I get up earlier and get my training. And a lot of times I was encouraging the other ladies too, like, be exercising and watching a replay so that you hear it again. And then after, you could just be replaying it like, oh, how could I apply this? And kind of like thinking about what this looks like how do I apply it? Because you're exercising or you're walking, when you take your walk outside, sometimes, you can be eating dinner and say, you know what, let me grab a notepad and my phone and play it on the phone. I would be driving and listening, because it was just, I love asynchronous communication because of that. It's access to information anytime. And I had to make peace with that too, because I do have the fear of missing out.
Oh, you have FOMO.
A bad case of FOMO. A bad case. It's bad.
But I love that you talk about that, because it's doable, right? And many
Very
of us
doable.
figured out how to do it when we got advanced degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us had to figure out how to do it pursuing master's degrees. Many of you
true.
know, by the time this airs, I will have just finished my last course. Woo, child.
Congratulations!
In my MBA program in behavioral finance and financial psychology. And that has not been for the faint of heart. Some of these professors, it was like a cakewalk. And then some of them, not so much. Okay.
No,
they had. This last course was like, you need to log in twice a day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, participate in the discussion, have an original thought. If someone has already posted anything similar to what you wanted to say, you better come up with something else to say and quote it. And like, it was very intense. And then weekly group case study work, and then papers, and then a final.
Right.
Okay, I run a whole business. Hello. A multifaceted business with a lot of parts going on that require me personally to show up. I still run a household and a whole family here. I got a daughter who had 5 to 6 basketball games per week because she played varsity, but was also, on JV, helping out the JV team. This kid is playing 5 to 7 games a week, every week since August, all the way up till just now, ending at the end of February. So much going on, like just so many things going on. And guess what? I still had to make the time, because this is what I say I wanted. And I love what you said, because it shows that you were committed to figuring this thing out, not just interested. And I find that when people are just interested in purpose to platform, in the idea of like, well, I guess I got a purpose, maybe I want to like pursue it a little bit. Okay. You have to decide for yourself, right? And this is why I talk about answering the call. Right. This thing is nudging. It is nagging. It is tugging. It is pulling. There is something saying, girl, this is your time.
Yeah.
If that is happening, I believe God is saying, not only this is your time, but freaking make time. I'm going to hopefully find the time one day. It's never coming.
No, one day never comes. It never comes.
There will always be things that feel more important. And as women in particular, we typically can make everyone else's thing more important. So we'll add everyone else's agenda and then say, well, I'll find time for what I want to do and, how I want to grow and all this stuff one day, but we can make time for everybody else's stuff.
Right.
I believe that is what contributes to burnout.
Oh, yes. Yes. And some of it's a savior complex, like being everything to everybody. It's like, no, some stuff is not your assignment. That's not for you to do. That wasn't you. Nobody sent you. See how nobody sent you there. And that's okay. Okay. All right. And, so oftentimes it's taking that step back and reevaluating, if you take inventory and look at your week. And recently I had to say that, look, the main thing's the main thing. I had to take a step step back. I have family stuff going on. I'm not about to be spent doing and companies always have, and personally, there are systems in place, there's support in place if you want support. Because often we may tell ourselves the story like, oh, we don't need support, we don't. And even in what I shared, I had to surrender. Some things are just out of my control. And often there's a saying that is, pray as if it's up to God, but work as if it's up to you. And I carried that throughout. I was like, look, anything I could, if I could push this plow, if I could do this work, I'm going to do this work, but I'm going to pray too. And I'm going to make sure my prayer life does not stumble under the demands and the needs and no, everything that if it matters. And I think you said this, it has to be on the calendar. What do you mean? That's why even now, anybody who reach out to me, honey, if you're not on the calendar, honey, I don't even know. Did we talk? We did. Oh, it's not. Have we met? I don't even think I know you. No. I don't even think I know you.
I think that it's okay.
It's okay to do
especially
that.
In different seasons of your life where you are clear that there is something in particular you're trying to accomplish. Like in different seasons of this MBA program, some things have just been a no.
Yes.
Like even this first part, Q1 of 2021, I love the fact that so many people want to invite me to their podcast. I really do. Right. I love the fact that I get invited to be on so many stages and all those things. But as my career has grown, what I have learned is that one, I have to say no. Like it is just a part of it. There are certain things that I just have to say no to. There are things I won't be able to participate in, not because my work calendar is full, but I have fit on my calendar.
Exactly.
My fit pillar time is important. I'm going to work out.
Okay.
Because that is a part, like pillar number one, like that's a part of it. Therapy and my life coach, mandatory for my fit pillar, for my mental fitness, right? People, Reagan's games, and, different things, FaceTimes that I do with my sister in California on Wednesdays, like that's important to me. The time that I chat with friends, that's important to me because those are times that I get to be poured into because I spend so much of my work pillar time pouring into everyone else. And I need those people pillar times for myself, right? My faith pillar, it's on the calendar. And those things get put on the calendar before much of the work. It really does. Some work things I'm booked to do it so far in advance. It is what it is. But most of the time, in an ideal world, me eating, because that used to not be on the calendar, and guess what? It didn't happen. So I could go the entire day and not eat, but then that was a fit pillar problem because it was causing me to be deficient in different minerals and like all vitamins and all this other stuff, right? So all of these things get to have a place, and I believe that whenever we set a new intention for what we want or who we, want to become, we have to commit the time on the calendar to getting it done. Like you said, it's not about attending every call that Purpose to Platform has live, but you get replays automatically. So setting a time that, okay, I will catch up on week 2, whatever, live calls, coaching calls, modules, whatever at this time, you get to set that time for you and then honor and respect the time and hold it sacred. What's up, OG listeners and purpose chasers? Guess what time it is? It is Purpose Challenge time. Every year I like to, really take this chase purpose, not money, to the next level by teaching you live in real time for 5 nights all of the things that have helped me evolve and go from literally scraping up change to embracing my purpose and building a thriving platform. And I'm going to teach you because I want you to chase purpose, not money. Right now, go to thepurposechallenge.com and get signed up. We begin on Sunday, March 27th, and it is going to be incredible. Everyone who's been through a challenge, I'm telling you, literally their minds are blown because of how much is really given and how supportive the community is. This is about chains breaking. This is about you getting clarity. This is about you being empowered to take your next best step so that you can literally chase purpose, not money. So join me starting March 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm also going to be doing tons of giveaways, and the only way that you can enter for the giveaway is to be registered for the challenge. And trust me, engagement pays, so you want to come on over. Come to thepurposechallenge.com. I can't wait to serve you. I am so excited, and I hope that you're excited too, to finally embrace your purpose and take it to the next level. I'll see you there.
Yes. That's true too. A lot of people lose sight of that, holding true to the time that you had scheduled and putting that plan forward, because even the coaches are available. And that's the other thing that I so appreciated. Not only the coaches being available, the sisterhood. You could, if you really found yourself stuck and you put that in the community, somebody gonna reach out. Look, let's talk about your schedule, sis. Let's work it out. Let's, because everyone was at a different stage.
And that's why we have a strategy coach. So
Yes.
Also, Purpose to Platform is not just Patrice talking a lot, although it is a lot of Patrice talking a lot, but it's not just that, and all the skill set types of things, mindset and skill set that I cover and what I do. But we have a faith coach. We have a mindset coach. We have a clarity coach. We have a branding coach. We have a tech coach, and we have a strategic planning coach. And I added strategic planning specifically because I knew there were a lot of women from corporate America and or people who are juggling families. And it's like, how do I get some structure to all these things I want to do? Because when you get beyond Purpose to Platform and now you're really out there doing the thing, but your plan is to leave your corporate job maybe in 5 years. Okay, we still got to be working today to prepare the foundation for when you are ready to go do the thing 5 years from now. If you can't figure out how to create time in the week to work on that, you may leave in 5 years. You may decide to leave, or they may decide that you're going to leave. That could go either way. Okay.
I told you my story.
Like that could happen, but will you be prepared? Back to your first piece. Like, will you be prepared so that if that happens before time or when it is time to happen, you don't want to get out there and then start to twiddle your thumbs going, now what I'm going to do? I know I had said I wanted to try something. I think that P2P is such a great opportunity to build the foundation for when folks are ready, but also with that timing piece to start to see what it feels like. Because if you think entrepreneurship is like, we're going to do 2 hours, the 5-hour work week, that's not what this is.
It's not. And that was the strategy call was such a big deal because it allowed us to learn about systems and how you put systems in place around your life, like, or no, plan your life around those systems. Like you really had to think about, okay, what are your priorities? Keeping the main thing. Like even when you said leaning into fit, like that's me. I'm like every morning, first things first, I don't talk to anybody. I'm not speaking to you. If your name is not Jesus, we are not in communication till about 9 o'clock. I'm not speaking to any of you because that is my time to be still, to read the word, to pray, to exercise, to get ready have breakfast, and then come in full. Because that's the other thing. People who are burned out and overexhausted, overworked, doing all of this, they are just so spent that they're projecting all of that on you. And you can project that too. Like now you acting out of character because you didn't go fill your cup before you came in here. And you knew it was going to be on fire. You knew it was going to be crazy. And so like, even looking at the whole holistic view of Purpose to Platform, yes, I walked away accepting that I am an entrepreneur and that I am building this wellness program, that I'm learning as I go. It's an abundant wellness journey because we want to be at overflow of giving in excess, not just lack. That isn't the biblical promise. Jesus said life more abundantly, meaning like this feeling of bare minimum and survival isn't for us. That's not the promise. And so that was the biggest takeaway of Purpose to Platform. But Purpose to Platform helped me excel in my career. I got promoted. I've exceeded I've exceeded my performance goals, and I'm having conversations about what the next level looks. And it hasn't even been a full year since Purpose to Platform. Like, it's surreal. The conversations I've had since Purpose to Platform, like, yes, the business over here and my corporate life, my family life, the focus has really just, my cup has been so full. And I often talk about one of these exercises that we did that just really, like, I had buried so much of who I am away in this blue bin, because I just thought it was, I was trying to keep the humility going and be, really humble about where I am and not, toot and things. And you challenged us to pull that all out. You were like, come on. And we started to do that work. And that was one of my crying videos. But there was so much healing there. I had not realized how much I had accomplished and how much God had brought me through so many things. Like, to take a step back and look at the big picture, that healing, even today, and it doesn't make me boastful like I thought it would shift me and make me this person I just kept fighting against being. But I needed the confidence, and I needed that reminder, like, even before I had accomplished all those things, I was already good. Like, I was already chosen. I was already loved. Before the foundations of the earth, he knew me, fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, putting all that stuff away was just saying that stuff, like, all the natural proclivities I had and the stuff he placed in me, I hid. Once I unveiled that stuff, honey, y'all can't talk to me. Can't nobody.
But you will address me as no.
Okay, daughter of the
Most High. Look, okay. I think it is amazing that we started this conversation with you saying that your company had been bought out and you were being looked over again for a promotion, to coming through P2P, going through what you're referring to as the brag binder exercise, like acknowledging like all of your greatness and your brilliance. And I mean, and I watched you expand over the course of the 12 weeks. So like, watching you expand, you were still crying, but that's okay because we all cry, right? To being in a place where you can now attract that promotion and that next level. And Coach Kathy, who's the strategy coach, I don't know if you know this, but when Kathy first came into community with me, she had been working at her company, I think, almost 20 years. And one of the things that she said to me was that she felt invisible. And since Kathy also is a P2P graduate, right? She's our strategy coach now there. But she's still at her corporate job, which is why she could speak to, how to create your schedule. And, she's a big fit pillar person and all those things. But I have watched over the last 2.5 to 3 years, I have watched Kathy get one recognition after another. And she will text me or send me a message and talk about the raises and promotions that she's received, and big announcements and spotlights around her at this company that she was at for almost 20 years and felt hidden. And this is why I truly believe that when we talk about Purpose to Platform, yes, we talk about online businesses and stuff like that, but I believe everything that we talk about and all the healing that happens and all of the ways of being that you guys are learning in that process, it can't help but impact your corporate career, because you start to walk with a new pep in your step, and folks start to use their voice in ways that they had never used them before. And they start to learn how to enroll people in the vision and like what they want and how they're gonna, like, how they see themselves moving forward. And it's a constant thing where we hear about raises, promotions, increase, all this stuff. And that to me is the essence of chase purpose, not money. Like, that is it. It is, how do I own my God-given gifts and how do I use them in a way, even if it's not directly in my company, but even the way that you share your testimony out loud and the way you start to like really share more authentically and vulnerably the things that matter to you deep in your spirit. I think that builds a level of, like, I don't, if you can see
Je
me,
ne
I'm
sais
just
quoi.
shaking my head. Je ne sais quoi, right? I think that that does it, and we don't even realize
It's true.
that we allow ourselves to be light in every space
Mhm.
that we occupy, and it is undeniable.
Right.
Like, it is freaking undeniable. They like, good child, we got to give this lady something. Like, we right, like
And I had
she
someone say that
needs
to
to
me
be.
at work the other day. Oh, we got to get you speaking in front of some people. Ma'am, how did you know? How did you know that I was a speaker? I don't even know. How did you know?
Oh, because Sandy also just graduated from Command the Stage. So
Yes.
there's also that. And you heard her break down her story so beautifully earlier. It is such a joy to watch. And I'm so glad that you didn't fall for that scarcity mindset that made you feel like, oh, if I can't do all the things and be on everything, I truly believe that everyone is going to come through and have the experience they need to have at this season in their life. And the things that you are able to participate in, and the sisters you are able to connect with, and whatever experience you have, I just think it's all, the common theme is healing and growth and transformation and building your voice and courage, and all those things I think are threads that go through every story for people who really lean into the experience. But I just love that you didn't go for the scarcity mindset that says, if I couldn't do every single call, that I was going to miss out. I believe you got exactly what you needed to get, and you created the space and the time to receive what you needed. And it has been a pleasure and a joy through P2P and now Command the Stage as well, to just watch you keep expanding upon that, living abundantly well.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been my pleasure. I mean, it's still like all of the programs just keep giving. They just keep giving. I didn't even talk about how relationally it shifted everything for me. Like women I had been connected to for years, that it's like forced me in to this level of growth and comfort and safety in actually leaning into those relationships and reaching out, because we were sliding in each other's DMs. So I was like, you know what? I have this sister's phone number. I'm just gonna text her. And it's just like filled my cup so much. It just is, I'm telling you, I hope that the listener hears our hearts and transparency around just the healing and the transformation that happens, and how it really is about making it what you want it to be. Like, yes, you make an investment. Yes, you spend the time investment as well, but it's all about what is it that you're, to your point, what you're being called to. What is it that there's more? Like, that's the word I kept hearing when I signed up for Purpose to Platform, is like, there's more, more. I'm like, what is more? What is more? And
Can I tell you something? I have been interviewing your P2P sisters all day today. And literally everyone's title for their podcast episode was going to be something about created for more, called to more. Every one of you have said something like that about
wow.
feeling like there's more, and coming
Mm,
into the space and having it kind of pulled out. I mean, some of you kicking and screaming, but
okay.
yeah, a few folks. Yeah, I'm talking about her, but see how Sandy recognized that, kicking and
Mhm,
screaming a
mhm.
little bit. But I think that that is the exact sentiment of probably 80% of the people, if not 100% of the people who have come through
Yes.
P2P, is that knowing there's more for people who are not entrepreneurs at all, right? Like
Mhm.
yourself, to people who are already entrepreneurial and feeling like there's something missing. I'm not
Right.
quite getting it, or this doesn't feel authentic, or I feel like I'm trying to do it the way everyone else is doing it, and that's not what God is calling me to do. Like, whatever that is, there's that consistent sense of there's more. And Sandy, again, I'm so proud of you. I
Thank
am
you.
so incredibly proud. And I have to say, you went from, I've never sponsored myself, I've never invested myself, and then you came around to command the stage
I
too.
did. I did. You all lit a fire. I'm telling you, lit a fire. Now I've been here like, where's the next program? What are we doing out here? How are we going to keep, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm so thankful that, the timing and everything, like, all things were done well. And I'm still like, I often say how you're like feasting off something. I was like, I'm still feasting off of it because it just keeps filling my cup, and I'm excited. And even with the ladies that are in the community, I already have my next program actually lined up. It's already with one of my P2P sisters. That is her business. I'm going to jump in there because I'm actually her client base. So I said, okay, sis, I'm next. Just let me wrap up my command the stage, and I will be with you next.
And
so
I love
I'm excited
it because that makes me so happy when like-hearted people can come together. And what I love about all of the programs is how I continue to see folks, even again, years down the line. So people from 2019 and 2020, I see them collaborating with new P2P sisters from 2021. And then I see people, I'm like, were they in the same cohort? They weren't in the same cohort, but they come together as just P2P sisters and alumni, and they know that they have the same foundation, and I believe the same heart, and that they have the same spirit in terms of how you want to serve and be obedient and show up, not in perfection, but show up obediently, like, and really serve people and have a heart for integrity. I love that that's the spirit in which we have community. And so there's a bit more trust there, right? Now, I don't know if anything's ever happened behind the scenes, but I know if it came to me, somebody gonna get it. But I'm just saying, I love that you all can trust each other and support each other and come together well after, Facebook groups have been archived and the time is over. There is still that sense of community and knowing that, like, oh, this is my sister. And I just absolutely love that. And so I'll be on the lookout for that. I'm sure when it all pops off, I'm going to hear about it.
You will.
So proud of you. Last thoughts for anyone who just jumped into the challenge. What would you say to someone who is like, should I take this challenge stuff seriously? Should I be looking into P2P? What would your words of encouragement be to them?
My words of encouragement would be to just dive in, come into the whole experience, bring your whole self, invest in yourself by making this investment and being intentional as you come in about planning, organizing your life around what you aspire to. And I promise you, often throughout, we say clarity in the doing. You'll find yourself doing and doing and doing, and then clarity will just keep coming and coming and coming. And next thing you know, you're like me. Okay, somebody who's never dreamt of being an entrepreneur who is like on that path. And you have this abundance of support and sisterhood and friendship that I believe will be lifelong. I believe it'll be lifelong. So do it. I am fully endorsing you to do it.
I love it. And I believe it'll be lifelong as well. And as I tell everyone, once your coach, always your coach. If I see you doing anything crazy, I will snatch you up. Doesn't matter if you graduated 5 years ago, I'll be in your
She will, y'all. Like, she will.
Hi, what's that? What are you... Is that what we learned? Because I don't think that's what we learned. What are you over there talking about? So, anywho, yes, sisterhood forever. So, Sandy, I'm so proud of you. Where can people find out more information about you and what you're up to?
You can follow me, Sandy Pharaon, everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. And if you jump into Facebook, join the Abundant Wellness community with Sandy Pharaon for those challenges I talked about and wellness tips just to support you on your wellness journey.
I love it. I'm so proud of you, Sandy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Patrice.
Okay. How was that? You can't tell me that you are not inspired and fired up by Sandy. I cannot tell you. I even mentioned Coach Kathy, who is in our community as well and is our strategy coach, has been our strategy coach for P2P. Let me tell you, I've seen it over and over again. I truly believe that when we are in alignment with our purpose, we can better set our priorities, and the way that we show up in the world is so magnetic. Even if you are not looking to become a full-time entrepreneur tomorrow, your ability to really lean into your gifts and your talents is going to make you shine in any environment. I truly believe that. And I believe it is so imperative that you at least have an idea of what those gifts and talents are and how you can bring them to life in the marketplace at any moment. Because we know tomorrow's not promised, we know the next moment isn't promised. But the truth is, a lot of the jobs that we see as so secure and so stable are not actually promised either. And when you're already grieving a possible job loss, right? That's not the time that you want to try to figure out, well, who am I? What am I good at? What do I do outside of the confines of, this job description? I think one of the biggest blessings I saw about the pandemic is it forced people to get in touch with who they really were and maybe gifts and talents that were laying dormant. But imagine if you knew those things and you also at least had a starting place for how you could move forward in your life if anything ever hit the fan. And that's what I love about Purpose to Platform and what we do in this community. So I really want to invite you to come check out what we're up to. The doors to Purpose to Platform are open now, but they won't be open long. They're only open until April 1st. And if any of the stories that you've heard over this week, whether that was Shabria or Amy or Doreen or Sandy today, if any of those stories have resonated with you, I really want to invite you to come check out Purpose, the number 2, platform.com and see if we are the people for you. If myself and my amazing team of 6 coaches and just this beautiful international like-hearted community, not like-minded. We're all different. We have different backgrounds, demographics, beliefs, all that stuff. But we all share the same heart to do great work in the world and to be change makers and light workers. And I believe that if you're here and if you're listening to me and if you've been listening all week, if you're in the Creative for Purpose Challenge right now, I believe that you're drawn to it because you're also a change maker and a light worker. But maybe you just need some community to hold your hand, give you rock solid, battle tested curriculum, right? And real coaching to get you to the next level. And I would love to be that person for you. So come check us out. Purpose, the number 2, platform.com. Would love to have you. And I'll still be back because I have more client success stories that I want to share with you. Come back tomorrow and check out my girl, Nicole Roan. Really, really excited for you to hear from her. Until then, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever chasing money. Talk to you later.